Thank you. George Adam, to be followed by Neil Finlay.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I welcome this debate, and it's an extremely important debate. I probably have to declare an interest in the fact my daughter is going through that time where she's going through education, hopefully be part of the system of this generation of young people who will get the opportunity to be all they can be with the Scottish Government's support. But one of the things that this time of year does is you obviously do your New Year's resolution, as Mr McIntosh mentioned. And apart from my usual ones, going to the gym, which hasn't been too successful recently, and also watching what I eat, well, this lunch didn't help too much either. One of my other ones was to be more understanding of the opposition parties within the Parliament, because I know you have a role to play within the whole process, and we have to work together in order to do this. But alas, I only see appears to be that I'm getting to the end of my first couple of sentences, where I've got to mention that Mary Scanlon mentioned the fact that a grant is better than a loan. Well, I would wholeheartedly agree with that. But would she and her Tory friends in Westminster say the same to the diminishing number of students in England who are paying £9,000 for university places? And the difference, whereas Scottish students pay absolutely nothing, and I believe this is the fundamental difference between this tale of two governments. One that actually focuses on its people and its belief in the positive outcomes for their future, and one that just doesn't care.
Mary Scanlon.
Thank you. I appreciate your common understanding and sensitivity to the opposition parties by giving way. Can I just say to the member, I was reading from the Prince's Trust, and I do think that if you have been unemployed for some time, it must be very helpful to get a £500 grant to get you started, to get you the tools needed to start an apprenticeship, rather than initially being landed with a loan. So yes, you could look at tuition fees, but I was talking about the commencement of work experience or an apprenticeship.
George Adam.
I would say that was the whole point of the Government's plans for education in college and higher education in Scotland, is that we're giving young people the opportunity to be all they can and achieve everything they can in the working world, not just picking and choosing things that we actually want to discuss on whatever debate we're discussing now. For me, if I can just move on, Mr McIntosh, for me, politics and our job is about people. And particularly for me, it's about the people of Paisley, which is nothing unusual for yourself. And what we do and the decisions we make affects them and their families. Today, I was at a funeral in Paisley for Jimmy McIntosh, a lifelong 90-year-old St Mirren man and Paisley man, ran supporters clubs for decades, a complete Paisley man to the core, and generations of St Mirren fans and Paisley people and members of his family were there in attendance at that funeral. And the place was a sea of black and white in the colours of St Mirren. But what I will say, during that very emotional funeral, it occurred to me the reason why we all do this. The reason why we're involved in politics is all these people that I saw today who are entrusting us with the future of them and their families and what we can do. And that's why I actually agree with the Minister, Angela Constance, when she says today, we must play our part. Every single one of us must play our part when we go down this road, whether it be a local councillor, as was mentioned earlier on at the local council level, or whether it's ourselves here, opposition, or actual government members or backbenchers in the SNP as well. We all must take our part on this one. And I also agree with the fact that she says we have to make sure that young people retain the hope and ambition for the future, because they are indeed our greatest asset. If we make sure, because I too lived through the 1980s as a young man, I know it doesn't show, you'll all be extremely surprised at that, but I was there when that devastation from the Thatcher Westminster government was there, and that is the cardinal difference between the position Scotland is in now and what we were in then. But the other thing we have to say is Scotland needs further powers. We need the levers of independence and the powers of independence, because there is only so much we can do for Scotland and our future with just the limited powers of devolution. And that is the way, when I look at the people that I saw today, that's what is the reason why I'm involved in politics. That's what motivates me to come here every day to make my arguments with regards to the people of Paisley and Scotland in general, is because we must stay focused, we must stay grounded, and we must look at some of the government's plans for the future and say there are a number of things that will make a difference to many of the people that we represent. College reform will ensure that the FE sector is better suits the needs of our young people, focusing on jobs and careers and ensuring quality for their future generations of young people. This is what the business sector want, because particularly when we were discussing it at the Education Committee, that was exactly what the business sector was saying. They want young people to be able to work within that sector and be able to be all they can be without them having to make any difference. At a local level, the previous SNP administration in Renfrewshire invested in our young people as well. £2.5 million in invest in Renfrewshire to create 800 to 1,000 jobs for all the 16 to 24-year-olds in Renfrewshire. Part of this included a six-figure sum that came from Minister Angela Constance's department as well. So I agree with the Minister that we must all take our responsibilities and ensure that we can deliver for our people. That is why this Scottish Government will not be going down the heartless road taken by previous Westminster governments with regard to youth employment. Presiding Officer, in closing, I mentioned that for me politics is about people and the people we represent, ensuring we represent their needs and protecting their futures. Scotland needs the full levers and powers of independence for us to be able to deliver all of this for our country. The Scottish people have shown their continued support for our young people. The Scottish Government has shown a continued support for our young people in Scotland, and I back them in this endeavour. This is too important for us to play petty politics and constantly hit each other over the head with a metaphoric hammer. We have to actually look at this and say that we get this right for our young people, because we don't want to go down the route of previous administrations in Westminster.
Thank you. I now call Neil Findlay to be followed by